My name is Holley. I am 29. I have 3 girls and a husband at home. I live in Eureka, California. It's a really small town, very beautiful. I just went back to work as a barista after being a stay-at-home mom for 6 years, and I like to spend time with my kids. When I arrived, before I even arrived, I was switching from methadone to hydrocodone, and I was definitely experiencing minor withdrawals. But then as soon as I arrived here, they gave me morphine and I felt completely fine. And then after the Ibogaine flood dose, I felt great. I had no withdrawal symptoms. It's day 5, I still have 0 withdrawal symptoms. I couldn't sleep for the first few nights because my thoughts were racing, and that's part of Ibogaine. But I feel like today is day 5, I think, since taking the Ibogaine, and I'm feeling like more myself, not so restless or mind racing. I was very skeptical that Ibogaine was going to work for me. I thought I'd be the one person that I'd experience severe withdrawals because I've experienced them so many times in the past. I was very skeptical, but 0 withdrawal symptoms going on day 5, and I had so much energy after, and I just had this like new view on life, this whole like great awakening for me. I saw like in my trip, I saw like I had this cinema film just going around and around in a circle of traumatic events. Each one was a traumatic event, and it was at the forefront of my mind at like all times, and how I like had to release that and let that go to receive better things, more positive things. And then I saw a lot of self-reflection, like deep parts of me that I needed to change that I didn't want to admit to change, which was really emotional the next day. I cried a lot, but I feel like I healed my inner child. My preparation was a little bit different because you can't have methadone or Suboxone in your system before you arrive here. Luckily, I have a very good doctor who believed in me and believed in this process and switched me to a short-acting opiate. So I switched from the methadone to the Norco. But I know that's not possible for a lot of people, but there is a lot of hope because Beond works with the nurse practitioner who administers kratom and gives you a dosage and really helps you so that you can get here to get the Ibogaine. Before I even arrived, I'm very much don't like to experiment with hallucinogens. I was very skeptical about coming here for that reason. The one thing that did make me feel very safe is that at any point I could take off my blindfold and I would be back in touch with reality. But before I came here, I had a coach, and she really grounded me, and she lectured me, and she gave me some very insightful wisdom about the plant medicine Ibogaine. And in the room, when you're actually getting administered, there's nurses, there's a doctor, you do EKGs before you even get administered it, you have an IV, they have a whole facility, like you're very well taken care of. I felt very safe. If I could describe what Ibogaine feels like, I felt kind of like drunk a little bit at first when it first started affecting me, kind of like wobbly, and then I started to hear a buzzing noise, which was very normal. That's when you put your blindfolds on and your headset on. Some of the visions I saw how I'm trying to fix everybody else in my life. I'm a giver. I just want everyone else to be happy, and they're taking and taking and taking, and I have to cut a clear line of, so that I'm not giving all of me to everybody else. And I had this weird thing where I was like talking to 3-year-old Holley and 8-year-old Holley and like telling each one something completely different, hugging them and just like healing my inner child. I saw, like I said, I saw this cinema film of like how I need to let go of past traumatic events, and how I just have like, there was a lot of reflection thoughts afterwards, self-reflection thoughts of, maybe I saw how I'd hurt people. I saw like visual memories of things that I've done that had hurt people, and that made me really self-aware. I had a vision, and I took my blindfold off immediately because it scared me at first. And they say Ibogaine will keep showing you the same thing until you kind of process it. And so I saw my mom, she was smiling, and then she was dead. And it freaked me out. I took off my blindfold and I was like, that's way too much. My mom's still alive, she's not dead. But the night before I was journaling and I was like, why did my parents decide to have kids? Like, why would they? My mom had seizures, my dad was an alcoholic, like my childhood was so terrible. And to me it correlated and then I saw a picture of my dad die. And to me it was like the old version of them that I resented completely. Like I have a new perspective on both of them, and that they were traumatized and they were doing the best that they could do with what they were given. I feel like I really found peace with it because a part of me, my inner child, was still hurting and still mad. And I even saw myself as a parent and stuff I was doing wrong. And it just makes me want to be like the best mom so I can stop that generational cycle of trauma. The Beond team, I have nothing but just so much gratitude in my heart for. Everyone from the nurses to the chefs come out and like greet you and check up on you every single day. Every single person, the yoga instructors, whoever, they genuinely care. Like everybody, you can just feel it. They genuinely care about everybody. And it makes you feel very safe. You have a nurse call button in your room at all times. So if you need anything at any point, you just press the button and they're right away. So they have a lot of healing modalities on site. Water aerobics, they have Watsu. And to me, Watsu, it's like they massage you in the water and they like float you around. And I have never been so relaxed. I told her, I was like, I feel like a baby. It was so healing. They do sound therapies, they do art therapies. There's so many different, you're doing different activities every day to keep you busy, and I really like that. My relationship with food has changed 1,000,000%. I'm definitely a binge eater. I've gained a lot of weight in the last year. I had a very, very unhealthy relationship with food. But after the Ibogaine, I just see food as like completely different. I have a much more healthier relationship with it. I'm not eating until I feel as full as I can be or wanting to snack all the time. I feel like I'm more like nurturing my body when my body's like ready and hungry. So I have just this whole different concept about food, which is, I didn't think that was gonna happen, but it definitely did. Before even getting the Ibogaine, I met with a therapist and he started talking to me about some of my traumatic events in my life and kind of led me up to my intentions for Ibogaine. And it was very helpful, very insightful. He was an amazing therapist. But afterwards, they call it a gray day, and you're very emotional. I could not stop crying. And Adriana, one of the therapists here, she came in and she just sat with me and talked to me about stuff that I was trying to process, but I didn't know how to process it or what to think of it, all these thoughts I was having. And she really broke it down for me and really helped me self-reflect and feel the feelings that I haven't felt in a really long time. The Ibogaine for me, like, one of the big things was I didn't really feel like I had an addiction. I knew I had an addiction. I knew that I was using more than what the doctor was prescribing me. I knew that I had an addiction, but it took me a long time to realize that and accept that, a very long time. But Ibogaine showed me like what I was hiding from. Why did I have my addiction? What those deep-rooted traumatic events, like it shows you exactly why you're using and like how to change it and how to be this better person. But the gray day, you are just very emotional and getting all of those feelings out. And I think it was very helpful. I think it was like a purge of all this old traumatic energy that I just needed to let go of. I can't recommend Beond enough to anyone. I've already texted 2 of my family members, I'm not gonna say who, and one of them is working on a plan right now to come here in the near future, and I will figure out a way for the other family member to come because they can both use it so much. And I've seen so many people that I've met here, like how it's worked for every single person that's been here. And like I said, I was a skeptic. I was like, it's not gonna work for me. I'm gonna have to leave the facility and like get my drugs back. And you know, I was just very in a negative mindset honestly. I just was very skeptical. I didn't think it was going to work, but seeing the stories and how powerful they are of everybody else here, it gives me so much hope.